Hi everyone, welcome to part 15 in my series on Jesus. I hope you'll watch this series in order. You can link to the first one in the series down below in the description. The gospel literally means the good news, but the good news wasn't Jesus the person, although he was good news, but that was not the good news. The good news was the message Jesus delivered. The good news was about the universe itself. So this video is about that, and it's about that alignment with the kingdom of heaven within, and it's a little bit about my own experience with that. The last video in this series called One is a little hard to summarize, but I ended it by saying that when you begin a spiritual practice and meditate, lots of times what's going to happen is, or maybe every time what's going to happen is, we start to look honestly at what's happening inside us. And lots of times that's going to bring up a lot of stuff that we've been pushing down. And then sometimes things can seem like they're getting worse before they get better. And Jesus used this metaphor of a person cleaning out his house and cleaning out the, quote, demons. Jesus uses demons metaphorically. He's speaking sort of the language of his time. When you clean out this demon, the demon goes out into the wilderness, finds 7 other buddies, other demons, and they come back into the house. So I left with this metaphor that I often use, where when you scrub a pot to clean it, the water gets all dirty first. So things get dirty before they get clean. And then there's usually another pot to clean after that. So that's where I left things in the last section. And now let's go to this section called alignment. But all that pot cleaning does get easier. Yes, Jesus was realistic, but he was also optimistic. He told us that reality is good. That's the gospel, literally the good news, in a nutshell. It's the miracle beyond all miracles. Life, the universe, can be trusted. The sun comes up, birds sing, our hearts pulse quietly on, and our cells do 1 trillion things per second to keep us alive. None of these are of our making. Jesus said, "Look around. Everything's like that. It's all a gift." Which one of you, he asks, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? If you then, who are flawed, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? Above all, Jesus urges us to trust that Father in heaven. He asks us to trust that something bigger, even bigger than Amazon, is delivering the goods. Yes, our participation is required, but not the kind our culture encourages. The participation Jesus teaches is not struggle and work. It's not the frenetic physical effort most of us believe is necessary to make our dreams come true. It's an invisible participation, something private. It's a turning of the mind towards allowing, an internal surrender to something infinitely tender that is also who we already are. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. To counter that this advice is absurd given all the bad outcomes in the world is itself a step away from the trust Jesus encouraged. It's a refusal to try practicing Christ's advice, which is the only way his advice makes sense. So, paradoxically, that refusal to practice is also an affirmation of what Christ taught. For it is also a statement of belief. It is to believe that our beliefs don't matter. And it is to live in a world where that appears to be true. Nothing I say, though, or indeed Christ says, will change the mind of someone not sympathetic to my argument, someone who's just not going to go there. I can only report from my experience, just as atheist Richard Dawkins reports from his. No miracles in my life come to mind to dazzle you with. And yet, as I write this, I feel suffused by a kind of glowing, a gratitude, something that borders on bliss, a marveling at my life, where it started and where it is now. Through the guidance of teachers like Jesus, Seth, and others, through the love of friends and family, through the self-examination of journal writing, through meditation, and most recently, through the love of a beautiful woman, inside and out, I feel myself both radically transformed from what I was, and more fundamentally, who I am than ever before. My sense of the richness of nature that I felt as a child has deepened and flowered. My connections to people have grown fuller and more tender. My writing has become more satisfying, as if I'm wandering into more rooms in a mansion. Central to that transformation has been the touchstone of trust in the unfolding of a kind of secret order, or a trust that itself creates that order. Central, too, is the realization that the love I've been looking for is the love that wants to come through me. Thanks for listening to this. I really appreciate having a place to express some of these thoughts and feelings and experiences